let's go ahead and just take a look at a couple of things here. One of the things I want to mention from the outset, that a number of these features and enhancements that I'm going to go over this afternoon were requested by you, our customers. And the forum, I'm not sure if everyone is aware of this, but we do have a Terrain Navigator Pro. We have a Terrain Navigator Pro community. It is located at tnp.user.com. That place is a place where you can find answers to any questions that you have about technical support. You can also request features there and a number of other things. So highly recommend, if you're not aware of it, if you're not using the tnp.user.com website, that you do so. And you can also vote for features that you would like us to implement on TNP. In addition, I'd like to mention at the outset, we will be having another webinar. This one will be in the middle of May, on Wednesday, May 15th at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. And that will be a demonstration of our site's add-on subscription. This subscription allows you to import surveys. So it could be site surveys, plot plans, could be AutoCAD files, it could be custom maps or drone photos into Terrain Navigator Pro, and have them available not only on your desktop, but have those custom maps available to you for use when you go out in the field on the TNP mobile app. So it's available to you on your smartphone or tablet. This particular webinar will be very beneficial for surveyors, foresters, construction managers, property managers, anyone who wants to bring custom apps into TNP, and especially to have them available on a mobile device. That's all we have for introductory housekeeping. So I'm going to go ahead and share out my screen here, and we're going to get started on Terrain Navigator Pro. So I'm just going to give that a minute, make sure everybody can see my screen. And I believe we can. So here we are, Terrain Navigator Pro. I am in Terrain Navigator Pro. I just did get a message that one of our customers is having problems with updating to TNP 12. One of the recommendations that I've had given to me from technical support this morning was that you uninstall and reinstall Terrain Navigator Pro to fix that problem. We do have a user-based article that covers this. It is and let me go ahead and make this available to you folks. I'm going to put a link in here where you can link to let me get that URL, and I'll put that up here in the chat for us. So bear with me for just a second here. I've got that URL. I'm going to post it in the chat. Bear with me for a second. So here it is. Those people that are having problems, go ahead and click on this link, and this will describe that problem. It will also help you to get Terrain Navigator Pro 12 installed. If you're still having issues with getting TNP 12 installed, I would suggest that you contact our support via email at tnpsupport@trimble.com. So just a couple of housekeeping things with anyone that might be experiencing any problems upgrading to Terrain Navigator Pro 12. While I'm at it, what I will do is mention that if I go to the File menu, and if I go to Preferences, and I go to Internet Access and Map Cache, you'll see here in this window, let me just bring it over here, you can check now this button here. And if any time you're wondering if you have the latest application version of TNP, click the check now button. And if you don't have the latest, it will let you know, and then just follow the procedures to get that installed. I've got a message here that Gary says that he can't see my screen. Give me 1 second. Is anyone else? Yep, I've got a couple of people that are saying that they can't see the screen. Let me go ahead and stop presenting, and I will start up again. Okay, folks, can you see my screen now? Still can't see my screen. Let me see here. It is telling me that I am presenting. Let me just go to, no, we're good there. Stop presenting. Let's go ahead and present. Okay, folks, can I get a green light here? Can folks see my screen? Okay, great. Thank you, Ben. Gary, I'm not sure why you're having problems. I got a message here from Jack that he can see the screen. Merle is saying no. Lisa is saying yes. Seems like we're having some technical difficulties. Some people can see the screen while others cannot. And I am not sure why that's the case. So I'm just going to continue on. You know, if more people tell me they can't see my screen, then we'll have to do something else. So Lisa Strouf, can I ask you that if at any time that you can't see my screen, could you please put a text and let me know that you can't see it? Those that can't see it, we'll have to catch it on the recording because we're pressed for time. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so let's go ahead and just talk about, so we talked about problems with upgrading to TNP 12, how to fix that. Now let's get into the meat of our webinar. Terrain Navigator Pro new features. I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis. Number one is true native 64-bit application. Number two, the marker, the polygon, the label, and the overlays tools have received feature enhancements. Number three, better compatibility with 64-bit Google Earth for some of those folks that have been using Google Earth and have had some problems with TNP. Some of those issues have been resolved. As a byproduct of being a true native 64-bit application, you're going to see faster printing and exporting of maps. Of course, high-resolution maps that are very, these are very large files. And now with 64-bit native application, it's going to go quicker for you. We've added a new style in our print menu. And fifth, we have TNP now uses location services on a mobile device for recording live positions for Bluetooth GPSs. And we've also made many improvements to the site add-on subscription. I'm not going to go over in a lot of detail the improvements that were made to the site's add-on subscription. That will be covered on May 15th. So that's the general, that is the general thing that we have here. So let's go ahead and start talking about our changes. One of the things that was changed in TNP 12 was in our markers. So let me go ahead and I am going to grab a marker here. And here we are. It's Nancy Mountain. This is located in the state of New Hampshire. Let's say we have a marker and we want to place a marker at the top of this mountain. What I did is just dropped my point, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit this marker. And what was added to labeling of markers is right here in the alignment, under alignment. What you'll see, and now we're referring to the text alignment, is that you have a number of options. Let's say you want it to be in the center of the marker over the symbol. You can choose that selection, or if you want it at the right or the top, or maybe you want it at the left bottom. You can choose where to locate your text label for your marker, which is a fantastic, handy feature. The second thing that was added in our marker tool was label as. So you could say, okay, I want this to be labeled as the GPS name. I want it, let's say I had some notes on this marker. I wanted the notes field to be the marker name, or let's say I want the elevation to be the marker name. So it's very easy now to label your markers. The third thing that was added in markers was the elevation. What we found out with our surveyors in particular was that they were interested not only in latitude, longitude, but also in elevation. So now we have an elevation field. You can go ahead and type in this field. You can make it custom, and you can change it from feet to meters. So some nice changes were made to available in our for our marker tool. Now let me go ahead and close this. The next thing that I want to mention is that you know, with TNP being a native 64-bit application, it will be faster. It's going to have access to more memory. It's going to be able to perform those large complex operations like the high resolution printing and exporting and that we talked about previously. So those larger maps are going to be handled much more smoothly in Terrain Navigator Pro 12. And what we did is also improve TNP's reliability when the internet is down. This included the various checks and warning messages that you get. So that system that works behind the scenes got an overhaul. So some fantastic news there. Other improvements increased the speed and reliability of the startup sequence and reduced the likelihood that the map catalog needs to be rebuilt. Just did a lot of housekeeping behind the scenes to make sure that TNP is running more efficiently for you. We talked about some of our markers and some of the flexibility that you have now. A little bit later, we'll talk about file import of markers and how we've made some changes, especially for those that have requested being able to import, let's say from an Excel spreadsheet, and you've got, latitude, longitude, and other information that you want to bring into TNP. So you can do that via the Excel spreadsheet. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Another tool that got some changes was our polygon tool. And let me go ahead. Let's, I grabbed it off my toolbar. Let's say we wanted to create a polygon. And let's just go ahead. Let's say we want to go ahead and we're going to select some points here. One of the things that you'll notice is now I can easily move without having to, do a lot of work. I can bend, I can change the legs of the polygon easily. You'll also see that on the outside here, you'll have the feet, you'll also have the acres. Now, if I right click and I edit this polygon, this is where we've made some of those changes. One of them was to the fill area. So for example, in the options, you can select what pattern, let's say, that you want it, and you can also select how much transparency that you want to see with TNP, and you can also do the same thing with the background. This will give you, the ability to really customize your polygons, and especially when you're annotating maps, to make sure that they look fantastic. So right now I've changed it, and as you'll see in the preview, the background will show more of the terrain. If I say, no, I don't want it to be, I want it to be a blue, for example, and I want less transparency, I don't want as much transparency, I could move that up, and I can say, okay. I can go ahead and you'll see that it updates there. I can change the text color. Let's say the black is a little bit hard to read, so let's go ahead with like an Alice, let's go with antique white. And you can also now change the background of that as well. So there's a lot of ways now to annotate your polygons, take advantage of transparencies and colors to really make your custom maps pop, which is fantastic with that. Also wanted to mention with the background, you can also have that have a color as well. So let's say, and you couldn't do that previously, let's say you wanted, the background to be yellow or something like that. And you wanted the text to be, something else that's a little bit, let's go with a black, for example. You can make it easy to use. So transparency was one of the big things that we have here. We've also, let me go ahead and close out of this. When you go to File, and let's say you want to go ahead and import, one of the things that you can do is import. Let's say we want to import some polygons. Some of the things that have been changed, you can import them from a GPX file format or KML or KMZ shapefile format. So that was another one of those new features that had been requested, which is fantastic. You can also select, let's say you had a couple of polygons. Give me a second here. We'll take these two polygons. You can take them and now you can copy them to the clipboard, and which makes it easy to cut and paste them. You can also, the polygons label can now include name, notes, GPS name, just like what we did with markers. So we made some nice changes to the polygon tool. For a minute here, I just want to move over now to the label tool. So let's say you're annotating your maps, and you want to, let's say you want to create a label here. You can go ahead and click on that. And one of the things that have been added, let me go ahead and widen this. So let's say we want to denote this as base camp or something. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to edit label. And one of the things that we've done is you'll see this little leader line here. Right now it's set to wedge thin. We could make that a thick, a wedge of a thicker thickness. We can make it a line. We can make it a thin line. So lots of choices now with the labeling tool, so that you can get exactly the look that you're looking for your custom maps. The end cap does refer to on the end of your label tool, what that looks like. You can have a circle, you can have other things, a dot, a square, all kinds of good things. You can experiment with that. So, that was some of the changes that we made to the labels. Now, one of the things that we did do was, again, getting back to the idea of importing, let's say, a shapefile. If we go to File, Import Overlays, one of the things that we've had this for some time, is you can import Esri shapefiles, KML files, KMZ files. Again, those come into TNP as overlays, or a DXF file. What we did was, depending on the software that created those files, they will be different nuances or subtypes. And so what we did is we worked behind the scenes to, take care of being able to import a larger variety of those subtypes. for those overlays. So, which is fantastic. Moving on, one of the things that we did is I'm going to put us in 2-map mode. And I'm going to go ahead and clicking this button here, lock the 2 modes together. We worked with better map viewing so that you can improve the mouse wheel zooming when 2 are open. So if I go ahead and zoom, it's going to zoom, and depending on the resolution of where that first map was set, what scale, you're going to see increased, I don't know if zoomability is a word, but anyway, enhancements to the zoom feature in Terrain Navigator Pro. We also talked about at the outset better compatibility with the 64-bit version of Google Earth. We have also added keyboard shortcuts like the arrow buttons when you're moving the map or the selection tool. So this is what I'm doing. I'm not doing this with my mouse. I'm just using the up and down arrow keys. So you can use that to get around your maps as well. So pretty handy that way. Along the lines of that, let me just go back to my single view. And I don't know how many people are aware of this, but the compass rose here in the upper left-hand corner for TNP actually has a function. It's not just for, decoration. If you click on it, it will, if you're, on the east, it will pan east. So it's going to give you a periphery of where you're at. And it's kind of like, it's going to do some panning in north, south, east, or west directions. Again, another nice way to get around your maps. Well, what you'll notice is that keep an eye on the red dots underneath the compass rose. This is the quad sheet that I'm looking at, or the quadrangle, but underneath that is the state of New Hampshire. Keep an eye on that red dot. So it gives you a bird's eye view of where the map is located, in the state. So that was one of the things you'll see there, that just moved. I have a question here from Dawn. Labels often do not appear on the same screen as the printed version. Has that been fixed? To my knowledge, Dawn, that has been fixed. If you do find that that's still a problem, please contact support, TNP support at trimble.com. I've got another note from David here. I noticed that the print legend looks different than the screen view. We will go over that. In fact, that is one of the next things. So David, let me go ahead and answer that by, I'm going to go to the file menu. Let's go ahead, and there are some changes that were made in the print preview, printing menu. Let me go ahead and, okay, there's our map. And with it being a native 64-bit application, you're going to notice that that it's going to be quicker, but also the PDF export has been made more reliable, and also the compatibility of certain rose options has been changed. We've also added some new ones. So if you're familiar with desktop publishing, you work with blocks and you insert blocks, and you can really get a lot out of your custom maps when you're producing them for, for reports. But one of the things, let me go to the compass. One of the things that you'll notice is the different compass styles. We added a new one, which is CAD arrow. You'll see that that is pointing to the direction of north. Probably handy for some of our surveyors and others, foresters that are looking for that type of information. And also, we're doing better with some of the other features here. So the print legend looks different than the screen view. David, I'm just trying to, let me go ahead and click out of that. So here's our screen view. And if I go to, let me go to print publish map. So it's going to take that section of the map, and it is going to align that along, you know, this predefined 1-inch border. So, David, I think you might be able to, you know, if you don't want as much of a margin, you can, you know, change that. You can move the scale or get rid of that. You know, if there's a couple of other things, you might want to brush up on that with using the print publishing features. I also have a note here that that with the PDF, the PDF file. So let's say you wanted to go ahead, you could print a PDF. Let me just go ahead and pull that up real quick. Bear with me for just a second. And what you can do with that is go ahead and you know, export you know, to PDF right here. So I went to the printer/file tab, then I found Microsoft Print to PDF, and that's one way that you can do that. Okay, just keeping moving right along. GPS improvements, we talked about this at the outset, but TNP now works directly with location services. There are Bluetooth GPS devices, such as the Bad Elf Submeter Bluetooth GPS that takes advantage of Windows location services. TNP will take advantage of what is reported there when it is displaying your information. So that's good to know. Just a couple of, we're almost done here. Some GPS improvements that, excuse me, some project, TNP projects. What we've done behind the scenes is automatic archiving of projects has been improved. Now there's kept a rolling collection of sequential backups. As you know, if you're working with maps and you're changing and altering maps, annotating maps, the data is critical. And so we recognize that. So you can now have access to different snapshots of those projects over time so that you don't lose your valuable information. A couple of other things that we've done with TNP is, let me go ahead and you can, when you export map geographic, let me go ahead and I'm going to take a section of map. So I've selected the selection tool, and I'm going to grab an area of the map that I want to bring into, let's say, a third-party application. So let's go ahead and take that map. Let's find, you know, a section that we really want to include. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sit on top of that pink dashed line, and I'm going to export. I just want to mention this here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, but I did mean to go to export map. You can export these now as an image, okay? So not just as GeoTIFF or others, but also as Windows bitmap, as a JPEG, as a PNG or TIFF file. So that's new in TNP 12. Another thing, let's say we do want to take this map and we want to go ahead and you can do a number of things within there. And let's see. So we're good to go with that. So some nifty features with respect to exporting them as pictures. Again, you can use those in third-party software, which will be good. The other thing I do want to mention is there are other fixes and enhancements. We talked about this. If you're in any window, let's say you're in the utilities window, let me go ahead, or custom, let's say the markers window, again, press F1, and it will bring up the help topic on that particular window. So very handy shortcut to know. We've also changed the fire drawing symbols to the, it's been renamed the ICS tools. That's more in line for our emergency managers and those that are working in Homeland Security or in search and rescue that will be interested in that renaming of the emergency management symbology. And so forth. One of the other things I do want to demonstrate for you, we talked about file marker imports, and this was a big change, and this one had been was one that this feature was asked for by a number of folks in a wide variety of vertical markets. So if I go to the file import menu and I go to markers, okay, I have a list here of markers. They're control markers that were taken for those familiar with the surveying vertical market control points. You know, it records latitude, longitude, height in a Excel spreadsheet. Well, there's a specific type of CSV that is used in the construction industry. It's called this PNEZD delimited text file format. As you can see, you can import different file formats, CSV, you know, text, etc., DXF. But we added this PNEZD text format, which is going to take the text from a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, and import that information as a marker. So let me go ahead. I'm going to open up this particular CSV file. Now, the first thing you want to do when you import from a spreadsheet, you want to make sure that you're find the appropriate coordinate system for your set of points. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which I have done. So our particular control points, I know that they are NAT 83, and I know that it is Louisiana. So let me get to Louisiana here, and it's South US feet. So all of these control points are in that projection. And you'll see here data fields. Right now, I've got a northing and an easting, a name, an elevation, a comment field, and a GPS name. Now, what was really nice when they implemented this feature is I can say, okay, I want to see the data sample. And what you'll see is the table comes up, latitude, longitude, elevation, name, and GPS name. So this will give you more information on your spreadsheet. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And it's going to tell me it imported 9 markers. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to then go to the layers menu. I am going to go to my markers. And you'll see my markers have been added. Now, let's say that I do want to go to the start marker. So I can see, I clicked on start. You'll see it's the control point. Here's the GPS name, the full text name, latitude, longitude. I can select another one, let's say Topo 109, and so forth. So I can choose any of these. I can click find. Now, TNP is not going to be limited. It's only limited by the number of states that you purchased. So here we are. We've jumped from New Hampshire. We've gone to Louisiana. And you'll see our 9 points, control points, that were collected for this particular survey. So, you know, again, very handy to be able to get that type of information. Now, if I right-click on this and I get information on the marker, here's the name, the elevation, and so forth, and then we can do all kinds of things from there. So basically, this wraps up concludes our TNP 12, the features that we've made to Terrain Navigator Pro, covering a number of different tools and making it easier for our customers to annotate maps, to be able to locate things on the maps, and to work more efficiently. Do I have any questions at this time about anything that I've mentioned? So if you have found this TNP 12 webinar helpful, if you could just send me just a quick chat or a quick message here that you're finding these webinars useful. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. We are working hard to, trying to keep it in line with our customers and that they can, make better use of Terrain Navigator Pro so that they can work more efficiently. Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Benjamin, for your kind comments. We appreciate those. I will ask you to go ahead and join us on May 15th. May 15th at 12 o'clock. Again, it's going to be it's going to be a webinar that will be a demonstration of our sites add-on with site survey. Thank you, Mel, and thank you, Merle, for your kind words. We're going to have that demonstration of sites add-on, being able to bring in surveys into Terrain Navigator Pro, overlay those surveys on your satellite photos, your USGS topos, and show them on a mobile device. I really think that this is tip of the spear, bringing in some features that have not been made available previously at the price point that TNP does. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on May 15th. Until then, I hope you have a great day. Again, if you're having El Dorado SAR, thank you very much. I will see you on the 15th, Bill. Yes, absolutely, Bill. We're going to make this as soon as we have the video available. We'll make that available to everyone. Daniel, thank you for the words on the good presentation. TNP 12 download does not require reinstalling state maps. Dan, you may just want to, or anyone that joined us late, if you want to get the latest version of Terrain Navigator Pro, I would suggest by going to the File menu, choosing Preferences, going to Internet Access and Map Cache, and then click Check Now for application updates, and that will make sure that you're upgraded to the latest version. All right, folks. I guess we are all set. And if you have any problems with your upgrade to TNP 12, please contact our support at tnpsupport@trimble.com. Have a great day, everyone.
What was that, dear?
And we are all set. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hope you have a great rest of the day.